Herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Podcast-Folge aus der Kölner Philharmonie. Ich bin Kathi Knees und ich darf mich heute mit einem Künstler unterhalten, den man seit über 30 Jahren mit seiner Bratsche eigentlich vor allem im Viererpack antrifft. 1999 hat das Belcea Quartet in der Reihe der Rising Stars auf den großen Bühnen der europäischen Konzerthallen das Publikum für sich erobert und es folgte eine große Karriere. Am 8. Juni ist das Ensemble mal wieder in der Kölner Philharmonie zu Gast. And today we talk about 30 years of quartet, the endless love for the viola and many unforgettable moments. Hello und herzlich willkommen, Krzysztof Chorzelski.
Vielen Dank. Das ist unglaublich. Das ist schon 27 Jahre. Das kann ich nicht glauben.
Ja, wenn das ein Kind wäre, wäre dieses Kind jetzt erwachsen.
Ja. Ja.
Ist das, kann man das auch ein bisschen so sehen? With what feelings do you look on your career when you look back over the 27 years?
First of all, with tremendous gratitude, because I never expected ever to be doing what I'm doing right now and have to be doing it for more than 30 years. I mean, this was my dream. You know, if someone talks about a dream coming true, my life represents it. And this is almost an understatement to say that my dream came true, because I didn't even have the courage to dream that I'll be doing this. So that's the first thing. And then I think also disbelief that this is now already more than 30 years, because I still consider myself very young at heart, and also full of need to learn and to develop, and nowhere near. It doesn't fit somehow the fact that I am now 30 years into this life, and also more and more finding myself in the position of sharing my experience with younger generation, which is very important to me. But like I said, I still find it hard to believe that this is where I am. So yes.
And when you look back into the 90s and you could meet yourself as a young man again, and what do you think, what would surprise young Krzysztof most about 2026?
I think what would surprise me the most, I think well, just the fact that I am doing it still, and that I am yeah, I think that's really it, because the fact that I'm, I feel young at heart is not surprising to me, because I felt like this then, and I didn't expect that to change, because when you're young, you think that's just how it's going to be, and somehow that is how how it turned out for me, really. So yeah, the greatest surprise is that that we are, that we still exist, and that also that we are doing as well as we are. I mean, that has got to be said, that even when at the beginning of our career we had an inkling that this is what we will be doing for as long as possible, I don't think we had the courage to believe that we would be sort of at the top of the string quartet world's possibilities. That's something really difficult to believe. Yeah.
In a quartet, of course, there are always four people and four personalities, four visions of life. And of course, many things changed in the world, but also the people who played with you in the quartet. Are there things that didn't change for the last 30 years playing in the quartet, in the Belcea Quartet?
Well, it's now Corina and myself who are the remaining two members who were there in 1999. So that hasn't changed. And I think that there's maybe, there is some kind of particular connection and balance between the two of us that has been there from the outset and continues to be there. I cannot really describe what it is, but first of all, I think the great part of the secret of our quartet is Corina, her personality, her incredible violin playing, and an incredible strength, quiet strength of personality. I mean, that has got to be said, that she has a sort of a quiet authority that we all um, um, accept or are grateful for. But it's a kind of authority that allows for people around her to flourish and to give their own um, what they have to offer. Because we, with all great personalities being there, it's also no secret that a string quartet is the sum of four parts, and that we're also aware of the fact, and maybe that's another thing I should have said, is that quartet the sum of four parts is greater than than each of the parts themselves. There's a kind of secret of, I suppose, of any human relationships, any successful, any happiness-inducing human relationship, that it produces something that is greater than the parts that it consists of, because maybe the fact that we unite around a goal which is so great and so worthy of all compromise, conflict, discussion, crises, whatever you call it, all these things that happen between us and happen between all human beings. I think if there is a greater goal that all the parties involved believe in, it will survive, and it lasts, and it outlasts all the crises. And I think that is very much the case with us. So I cannot really maybe describe the role I play in it, because it's very difficult to do that, being the person that person. But I'm sure I do also give something to this meeting of four voices that makes it durable, and that helps also Corina in fulfilling her role as a leader. But I can only say that that over the years her personality has been crucial to our longevity.
What do you think is the most important skill that you have if you want to play in a string quartet, or do you need to have a skill set from the
Mm.
four people that come together?
Well, it's definitely a skill set, but maybe if I were to sublimate one particular quality that is necessary for it, it is that no matter how much you are focused on yourself, and one has to be very much focused on themselves. I don't mean themselves in terms of their personality, but their voice in the group. For instance, when we play quartets, no matter how much we are there being present in our voice, that needs to be only the listening to other voices. Yeah, I think the quality of listening, the intensity of listening while being focused on oneself, has got to be the dominant force. That's what makes it's the listening that makes it work. And I think, again, it's probably a metaphor for all human interaction, that no matter how much we are focused on ourselves, if we don't listen to people around us, we can't make our lives. It doesn't work. It just
Mm.
doesn't work. It's the listening rather than talking that I think makes world a better place. And I think it's the listening that rather than playing, almost to a certain extent, that makes our quartet um, gives our quartet the quality that certainly we are looking for. And I think that it's the quality that people hear in concerts. It's the listening, because we are constantly reacting. We don't have a master plan for. I mean, of course, we rehearse endlessly our repertoire, but at the end of the day, we are only setting a certain framework for what's going to happen when we go on stage and make music, and then what happens is we listen, and it's this. I think this quality that is the most important thing for me.
And do you think the audiences listen differently than 30 years ago?
I don't think so. I think that if an audience is presented with something that is worth hearing, the intensity of their listening um, is just a reflection of what they are listening to. I mean, I noticed this with audiences that that when there's an incredible silence in the hall, that is, and I've experienced it over the years, and funnily enough, I have to tell you that one of the most um, memorable experience of this kind of quality of silence was, and I'm not saying this just because this is a podcast for the Köln Philharmonie, but I remember very well about 20, maybe 25 years ago, we played Webern's five pieces, Opus 5. The piece requires utmost silence. In fact, one would think that only a recording studio silence can give this piece um, do justice to this piece. And yet, I remember very well that we played this piece in at the Cologne Philharmonie, which was a gigantic hall, and the silence, and also the fact that you feel that the smallest pianissimo, the smallest brushing of the string with three hairs is heard at the back of the hall when that silence is observed. I remember it very well. So yes, I think the quality was always there. It just needs to be brought out in the audience, and it needs to be also enhanced by a fantastic hall, which the Cologne Philharmonie obviously is.
And of course, the audience only gets the moment, the polished result of your rehearsing, of the endless rehearsing you told us about. But do you also have these magic moments in a rehearsal, just the four of you? Or do you need the magic of the concert to reach this magic moments?
Hmm. I don't think when we are rehearsing we are looking for any magic. So it's very difficult to. I don't think we ever experienced these moments of magic when we rehearse. We are listening with a much more critical ear when we are, and it's necessary, I think. So um, no, I cannot remember moments of euphoric moments while rehearsing. No. No, I think it's true that these things only happen when we are sharing this with the results of our work with other people, which is very interesting. I never thought about it, but it's true. Yeah.
What does a rehearsal of the Belcea Quartet look like? How do you rehearse? Do you talk a lot, or do you prefer to play a lot?
But it's always a meeting and confrontation of different tendencies. Some of us like to talk a lot. Some of us like to talk less, and it's I suppose the tension, the Spannung between those two tendencies, that makes it work. I think both are necessary. I am the one who likes to talk more than than others. I like to bring out images and to identify more clearly what it is, maybe almost in extra musical terms, what it is that we are looking for. The others maybe not so much. Um, yeah, and sometimes it's really a kind of free flow of between us, sort of we are connected together, so it can be that one day one tendency is stronger than the others, depending also how people feel, and we just go with the flow. It's I think, of course, there are also situations where um, there are conflicts arising also from this, because we have different tendencies, and but that's kind of we learned over the years now, 30 years of working together, that this is kind of, oh, it's a work in progress, and we know how to handle these things. We don't take these conflicts as anything personal. Of course, it's personal, but what I mean is, we know how to handle these tensions, and we know that ultimately these tensions create a better something better. something that we are looking for. So we, in a way, we know that we need this tension.
And when you play a new piece like Red Dean's piece, which is a German premiere in the Kölner Philharmonie, I think.
I think you're right. I think yes, it is.
Yeah. How do you get to know a piece? Do you do it on your own at first, or do you play it, or the four of you, to get a first impression of the whole piece?
No, with a piece of this difficulty, this level of difficulty, we have to be individually very well prepared before we attempt to read it together. There's no chance of just opening the score and reading it together. The intricacy of rhythmic complexities and also the just pure difficulty of Brett is himself a wonderful string player, so he writes with utter precision and knowledge of the instrument, and his imagination is so rich that there are lots of notes to learn first before we can actually sit down and play it together. And that's actually how we approach our work with all composers. We never really sit down. Maybe that's not so great, but we also it comes from the fact that our rehearsal time in a way is limited because we don't live in the same city. So it's not like we can just call each other up and say, hi, shall we meet tomorrow and just read through some quartets we're going to play. No, we have everything intricately planned well in advance because we know that during our rehearsal time, at least one person, if not two or three, are out of their home when that happens. So the time we spend rehearsing has to be extremely well spent. So there's since many years there's great emphasis on individual preparation um, before we actually sit down and rehearse. And with a piece like Brett Dean's, what helped us with Brett Dean's piece is also that he sent us audio files of his music, and in fact, 20 years ago, when a composer sent audio files of the composer, it was laughable. It sounded terrible, so we decided not to do it. But nowadays, it sounds frighteningly good, I have to say. So much so that you kind of you feel like that we will never be able to to play this well.
And you're used to playing new pieces. What do you like about um, discovering a new score that nobody has ever played before?
Well, it's that, but it's also the fact that I mean, I love to. I'm more and more interested in the music of today. It's not something that has been my main preoccupation for a very long time, and then the last years it has become much more dominant. I'm just very curious. Maybe it's fair to say that maybe I'm the most curious in this respect of all my colleagues, and it has been my kind of feeling that it's kind of our duty, being where we are, to make new music happen. And now we are in the position to ask the greatest living composers to write quartets for us. So it's a duty. Yes, it feels like a duty to do it, and a wonderful one. And of course, we choose the composers that we love. And Brett is really at the absolute top of the list. He has been a friend for some years, and our friendship really deepened in the last years, especially around our work on his quartet. So it's fantastic, and of course we also, we lament the fact that we so often play Beethoven's music and have so many doubts and questions, and we cannot ask him these questions because we will never know the answers to these questions. So it's wonderful to be able to get inside a piece of music where you can really discuss everything with the composer and understand how he arrived at what we're playing, and also sometimes, in case, especially was in case with the case with Brett, we actually worked with him very intensely, and we changed certain things in the piece together as a result of what he heard and what we felt. So it was a particularly rewarding process, because in a way we participated a little bit in the fine tuning of it.
And do you play Beethoven differently afterwards? Because when you have talked to a composer, then you realize, oh, this is how it feels to talk to the composer, to ask my questions, to play it differently, to bring your own opinion into the process. Do you play Beethoven differently after you've talked to a contemporary composer somehow?
Not consciously, maybe, but I do think that we are always faced with the fact, as performers, with the fact that we are, we are reading a text. Basically, a score is a text. It's a notational representation of something that grew inside a composer's imagination, their mind, and um, there's a certain limitation to reading the text. So basically, we learn, of course, to understand the language of each composer, to be able to discern a little bit better what a certain passage in Beethoven's music means as opposed to Brahms's or Bartok's, and to be able to go behind a little bit the texts. And I think that maybe working with living composers helps us see exactly that there's a living person behind these dots on the page, and that it's our duty um, to try to go inside it, not to stop at the level of the text, but go deeper, go inside. And yes, and I think in a way working with a living composer awakens this need in us, because it's actually something that can be can be helped by them with with other composers. It's up to us, and only, and not just through rehearsing, but through reading, through growing constantly as musicians and that's what we do. And I feel that with Beethoven in particular, that our reading of each of these quartets, each time we return to them, deepens and grows, because we are less and less ready to stop at the level of the text, and more concerned with what we think this text represents. And sometimes it means taking risks and taking decisions. Maybe that's also what comes with some experiences, that we feel more and more maybe like we have some right to take some decisions, be a bit more bold with decisions, knowing that we might be wrong, but at least sometimes I feel it's more important to be true and to be honest and to be somehow confident in our belief than respectful and careful. And because then the music it's not really alive. It doesn't really travel to the audience as much. So yes, I think, to answer your question in a very, very convoluted way, I think that it does have an effect on our reading of for instance, Beethoven.
Hmm. In your concert on the 8th of June, you not only play Brett and Beethoven, but also Mozart. What kind of boldness do you find in Mozart music?
Well, this quartet in particular, the dissonant quartet, is absolutely remarkable. So much so that in most of our concerts this season, we proceeded, not in Cologne, but in other concerts, we proceeded uh, by the famous Webern Opus 5 pieces that I already mentioned before. And we proceeded seamlessly. So when the first bars of the Mozart quartet sound, I think half of the hall may still be thinking that it's by Webern, and only some time into the piece they realize that this is already Mozart.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing about this particular quartet, that it's incredibly bold, harmonically, and not just in its introduction, because the chromaticism of this introduction that takes us into all sorts of um, incredibly dissonant and difficult to understand moments in harmony. this carries through also other movements in different guises. So that's the first thing, to identify that particular element in this quartet. And then, of course, Mozart is so primarily an operatic composer for us, at least. So I think the more we play Mozart, the more we realize it, and we free ourselves to in a way to play it not like a string quartet, but more like an operatic oeuvre, with all the freedom given to the singing voices and the necessary dramatic spontaneity that comes with it. So I think our Mozart playing now, I think I'm hoping, is less controlled than it used to be, or less more spontaneous and more open to risks which are necessary. I think if one is to bring out this operatic element of his music. So yeah, and that in itself, of course, is bold because it kind of um, it defies the string quartet genre, and it's not, we are basically in a way trying less and less to play string quartets, but more and more to do something else with it. But yeah, I think it creates risks, and it makes the performances more fresh and more dangerous and interesting.
So we have Mozart, we have Bradin, we have Beethoven. When people leave the Belcea Quartet concert in the Kölner Philharmonie, what do you hope stays with them on their journey home? What kind of feeling do they take home?
I would like to them to go back home with the feeling that there's a beautiful harmony that comes with pluralism, with with um, dialogue, or in this case, a conversation between four parts, and that there's a necessary tension coming from all the contrasts and all the ambiguities, and yet that it's a force for a better, more harmonious world. And this is something that I think we in our world right now need to be reminded, to also for just purely for comfort and consolation, because our world is breaking apart, and maybe a concert hall and a performance of a string quartet can be seen as a kind of glimpse of a sort of utopian world where these tensions bring something good and beautiful, and not our source for endless conflict and war. Yeah,
Beautiful. Christoph, I'd like to play a little game with you
yeah,
to close our podcast and just to get to know you better, because you're one of four, but you are talking to me. So I would like to answer you the sentences.
yeah,
I will start and you will just answer what comes to your mind.
yeah.
The composer who understands the string quartet best is
Joseph Haydn.
a piece I never grow tired of playing is
Beethoven, Opus 131.
the most underrated composer for string quartet is
Arnold Schoenberg.
the best concert hall in the world is no pressure.
Oh, this is a difficult one. For sentimental reasons, primarily, Wigmore Hall.
A musical hero of mine is,
Huh. Living one, Tabea Zimmermann.
and when I'm not making music, I enjoy sitting in front of the school of my son, I guess.
Yes, well, actually, playing with my son, playing at home with my son.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess your family time is highly treasured.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Christoph. It was nice talking to you and getting a glimpse of the quartet life after 30 years of playing the viola in the Belcea Quartet. What an achievement. What do you hope for the next 30 years?
Oh, I just hope we stay healthy and happy, and we carry on as long as we can.
Yeah. I wish you a great concert in the Kölner Philharmonie. We're very glad to have you here after all these years again and again and again. So have a nice day in sunny Frankfurt and it was nice talking to you. Thank you
Very
so
nice to talk to you too. Bye bye.
Das war wieder eine Podcast-Folge aus der Kölner Philharmonie. Ich bin Kati Knees und heute habe ich gesprochen mit Krzysztof Chorzelski vom Belcea Quartet.